You're listening to Champion Cinema with Chris and Chris.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Champion Cinema. I'm Chris with a Charles Dance C.
Yes, you were spoiled this week, I must say.
Certainly was.
I'm Chris with a Kim Flowers K. Slim Pickens this week.
Is she the chick who gets her bum out in Alien Resurrection?
She is. She's the ass lady.
The ass lady. She's related to Billy Gunn.
Also, ex-ballerina, which explains a lot.
The name Kim Flowers does ring a bell.
Yeah.
Now that you've said it, but I didn't recognise her in the movies. That's weird. This week it's, as I said on Instagram, the controversial half of the original Alien movies, Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection.
The, diminishing returns section.
Yeah.
Of Aliens.
And then, there probably won't be a show next week, but there will be one after that's when we're going to review Romulus. Just to well, we might try and squeeze something out in the gap, I don't know, a commentary for one of the films we're not going to cover, like Alien vs Predator or something.
Yeah, well, we're sort of played with that idea of doing a wrap up of the franchise and just talk about them rather than watching them. We could maybe just have a chat about
it. I figured we were just going to do that before the Romulus review.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Just so the show's, in case we don't like it, the show's 15 minutes long. I'm saying, it's fucking shite. Don't have anything good to say about it.
Yeah, true.
I don't even have any criticisms. I just came out that was a film.
That's the quite possibly
the worst feeling you can have after a film.
It's literally how I felt about Evil Dead, pretty much. The movie from the same director.
Yeah.
I was just like, aye, it was all right. I just give up.
See, I've just been meaning to say this for a while. Whenever I check the download stats, it always goes Great Britain first, because people hear our voice and go, oh, they're English, we'll listen to this, it's more familiar. Or people listen to this and go, nah.
Yeah.
But the two most downloaded places from under Great Britain is Minnesota and Connecticut.
It's very strange.
Yeah, and it's not like it's always just one person in Minnesota downloaded that show. It's always a few. Yeah. So it's more than one person. So I just want to say hello.
Thank you for listening.
Come over to the Instagram. Our comments are a barren wasteland.
Maybe it's it's a whole group of people who are learning to do an English dialect. That's my headcanon.
Maybe. Yeah, they're all up for a role as Geordies in some play.
And the Billy Elliot stage musical.
the revival.
That's randomly being made by Americans.
I was thinking though, who's famous that lives in Minnesota or Connecticut? Vince McMahon. Connecticut.
You never know. He's on the skids these days.
He likes popping on a podcast right after he's taking a Anyway, let's move on to the movies.
Moving on.
Champion Cinema.
Alien 3 was released in 1992. We're looking at the assembly cut / special edition cut of the movie, which runs for 2 hours and 24 minutes. It's a long one, and it's directed by David Fincher. It stars Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, Charles Dance as Clemens. Yeah, I said it makes it. Really, when you say Charles Dance's name, you got to pronounce it Charles Dance.
Charles Dance.
Whereas I've called him randomly, and me know it's Charlie's Dance.
Nice.
Brian Glover as Andrews. You want to do it quickly?
What? Now, take it out.
That's enough. I was going for it.
Oh, that's enough. There's too many choices with Brian Glover. That's the problem.
There certainly is. Charles S. Dutton as Dylan. Ralph Brown as Aaron, a.k.a. 85. Although I pronounce it the weird English way, which I always think sounds wrong, Aaron.
Yeah.
Don't know about that. Come on, England. Paul McGann as Gollick. Danny Webb as Morse. Christopher Fairbank as Murphy. Holt McCallany as Junior. And Lance Henriksen as Bishop. Yeah, what's the story, though? What's it about?
Well, strap yourself in for some slow grinding misery as we are taken on a journey by the brown specialist himself, David Fincher. So, due to a very poorly designed safety feature on board the Sulaco, Ripley, while still asleep from the last film, is ejected into space inside literally a metal box. That quickly pounds itself into the surface of the prison planet Fury 161. That kills everyone on board because it's just a metal box, apparently. Ripley initially wakes up and acts like a petulant child, refusing to keep a low profile amongst 20-plus murderer rapists who haven't seen a woman in years. That is, until she realises she's not the only new visitor to the planet. Ripley and the rapists work together in a splendid romp to kill the alien, before the evil corporation arrives to capture and exploit it for their own nefarious plans.
So yeah, this was one of those movies, obviously, that had like it took a long time to get to the screen. Had a handful, I can't remember how many now, maybe 5 or 6 scripts in development that were all rejected.
Yeah.
And I think I saw today that they'd already spent $7 million before cameras even rolled, and they started without a completed script. I'm like,
It's just kept paying people to
yeah,
write.
I'm just
Do you want to
like,
write something?
fuck it, right? If you've, I know, like you're probably thinking, God, we've gone through like 5 writers. Let's just get this one going. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Maybe
like,
that's
you've
a
got
sign.
problem.
Don't make the movie.
Yeah, yeah. If there isn't just a good story that kind of falls in your lap to some degree, then it's probably not the right time
Yeah, but
to be
that's
making
not
it.
Hollywood style, is it? Though.
No. It's interesting to note, and the trend continued into Alien Resurrection. The gap between movies got shorter with every movie.
Yep.
I think it was like 7. I think it was 11 years, 7 years, 6 years, 5 years, or something like that. So it's like that demand to get. We've got to have a new entry to the franchise.
Yeah.
You know, we need that machine to keep rolling, keep creating money.
So like there's one, I know there's one script where it was like a planet full of monks, or it was like a monastery. Was that the same one as like the planet made out of wood?
Yeah, there's 2 versions of the
Yeah.
story. Yeah, one on a wood planet and one just on a asteroid or something.
Because you can see like elements of each of those like little elements of the scripts in this. Like the monks are kind of like the prisoners, and like they're religious. They've become religious and stuff like that. So you can see like they picked and choose little bits from each of the scripts that they liked.
Yeah. And I think that element was worth exploring. Ironically,
And then of course, you know, they even put out a teaser when they were in development saying like, oh yeah, it's set on Earth. That never happened. So imagine just seeing that teaser and then going to see the movie and being like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And also, you know, I won't go in. I was going to watch like the making of and like take copious notes because the making of was a fucking nightmare for David Fincher. And,
Yeah.
But I'll just say he didn't have the best experience.
No, he was fired 3 times.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
And or quit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the end that was it. It was like he was done with the movie, whether he quit or was fired, whichever came first. Like the movie was finished by somebody else, or second unit director maybe.
Yeah.
I could never really. I did have a quick nose in and couldn't see if there was any. It didn't appear like there was any big names.
No,
like director that was drafted. in
Yeah,
sort of
I
thing.
think it was mainly the edit that he had nothing to do with.
Yeah,
after
exactly.
a while. Yeah.
I think there was a few reshoots as well.
Yeah.
Like a smidge reshoot. A couple like her falling into lava and stuff.
Yeah, well, they
I
had
think
to
it was changed.
They had to redo that once they changed the edit and like stuff like that. And obviously reshoot the
Yeah.
things with the dog instead of the ox
The dog.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I do like that story though. That it's just once again it just shows like fucking producers like where they wouldn't let Fincher shoot the shot that became the most famous shot in the movie, so he just went
Yeah.
fuck off and just did it himself.
Yeah, it's weird that. And they're like, why?
I know
Why
why,
not?
why were the studios like? They saw the storyboards and went, "No, that will look shit." Like what it's like the best bit in the movie almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny though that like he still wants nothing. I don't know about now, but like the most recent quotes I could find, he still really doesn't want anything to do. He was the only director that didn't come back and like do his own director's cut for the special edition versions or anything.
Yeah. But, you know, sometimes I kind of think, I sympathise with him. But then more recently, I just think, oh, fuck off, arsehole. Like, the film was going to be shit anyway. Like, with your involvement anyway. So,
He should have you as a producer on the movie.
totally. Like, it was already his choice to, like, write and make this shitty film. And
He didn't
have
write
these
it. He didn't write
Well,
it.
no, I suppose.
Don't blame him for the Newt thing.
The elements, he should have just looked at it and went, I don't want to make this film. And then noped straight out of there.
And when we were younger, you always used to like blame David Fincher for killing Newt.
Basically.
You were
I
like,
was oh,
fucking prick.
yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose I should probably pin it more on the studio and the writers,
Yeah.
I guess. Because, that whole thing, like, I mean, let's get into the story. This film would just make a lot more, well, it would be a lot more satisfying, firstly, if it just didn't have any of the characters in, Ripley and stuff. It should have just been, the backstory should have been, the colony on LV-426 had already shipped out facehugger samples before the Marines arrived. I mean, when they're on the planet, you see them in containers and stuff, so they were already doing scientific things.
Yeah.
So, you know, the scientists got a message from the company, or the colonists got a message from the company, send us a sample. They had already prepared it and put it on a cargo ship, and it had left planet 2 days before the Marines arrived. Alien 3 is about 5 crew members on board that ship who were on the way to wherever with the samples when something goes wrong.
Could be Earth.
Yeah. And the ship crashes or the EEV crashes, whatever. Everybody on board's killed, apart from some new heroine in the story is just about her. Like, it didn't need to be Ripley. It didn't need to be Hicks, and you just fucking put them to one side and let them be off in the universe somewhere.
Well, that's the thing as well. You think the reason they went this direction was because they just didn't want to do a movie without Ripley. But, like, I think there is one of the scripts where it's Michael Biehn's the main character.
Yeah.
And Michael Biehn and Newt, like Ripley. I think it's like Ripley dies instead of them. I think was that like maybe a backup in case you really didn't want to do it. Maybe.
Yeah, because she's like, you know, she's a clever lady and she knows how to get money out of studios. Yeah. Like, people always tell the story. Oh, Ripley didn't. Sigourney Weaver didn't want to come back for more money for more Alien movies. But my theory is it's just a fucking bargaining tactic, that bullshit. Because she said it for Alien 3 and Alien 4, and she came back. They give her a shit ton of money. And I can't blame her. It's a shrewd move that she got, like, a shit ton of money for doing this film and the next, basically.
Because, you know, she's smart. She knows the movie business. How rare is it that, like, you get a 1 and a 2 punch like that are like masterpieces? You're not going to hit 3 in a row.
No. So you may as well just, like, cash in at that point. Yeah. And be like, well, I'll come back, but only if you give us X million.
And you get to producer credit on this as well.
And a producer credit, yeah, definitely.
There is one of those scripts, though, that's like the most fan-favoured version, which was turned into like a audio player, like an audiobook type of thing. Yeah,
I've always been tempted to go through it.
I think it actually has Michael Biehn doing Hicks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they made a comic about the Wood Planet thing as well, I think.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, from memory. I've never really dug into like the expanded stuff. You know, apart from the Dark Horse comics here and there, I've never really got into. I know there's a ton of stuff out there on Spotify and stuff, and like or something, audiobooks and shit.
Audible probably. Yeah,
Audible. It'll be Audible. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let's start like just right at the start because this does, you know, it's still one of my favorite openings to a movie. As far as like logo transitions into the movie with the Fox fanfare like going into the score. I love that. I love it when they make the effort to like blend everything together.
Such a rare thing, isn't it? You know, like Indiana Jones does it. Just off the top of the head, Scott Pilgrim does it. But Burbs, yeah. There's like a handful of movies, but it's rare that it happens. Yeah, definitely.
And I will say, because this is the first time I've ever watched the longer version, I much prefer the opening of the longer version than the theatrical version, with just Charles Dance outside and then finding her first and bringing her in, and it just feels a bit more hectic and it's way more atmospheric as well. All the outside stuff.
Yeah, like just the moodiness of it all and stuff, and the score works really well as well. Like the foreboding sort of score over the back of it. Yeah, definitely.
And that very specific like frame rate that they use, that's like in between what you normally see as slow motion. It's like got a weird dreamlike quality to it when they're like running around outside. It looks great.
Yeah. Everything's covered in lice and stuff.
Yeah, that's fucking gross, isn't it?
Old Megan.
Yeah, when they just find her covered in lice. Yeah, pretty gross. I will say though, like I don't know why when they were doing, because obviously there's 2 versions of the assembly cut. There's like the one they did for DVD, which is like quite ropey. It's not like finished.
Audio's missing and stuff.
Yeah, and then the Blu-ray one, which they completely cleaned up, and like I couldn't tell when like a deleted scene was popping in or when they'd like re-recorded dialogue and stuff like that. But like when you're at that point, I'm just like, why keep some of the CGI shots because they look awful?
Yeah, you may as well just keep going and fix some of that.
Either keep going or just get rid of it. Like when the scene where the alien's born out the ox. And like when it comes out and it stands up, that's like practical. And then it just cuts that really awkward long shot of it running down the corridor. And I'm like, you didn't need that. And it looks fucking awful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's sadly one of those movies that was overly ambitious for the CGI.
To be honest, it's one, because it's not a film I watch a lot. It's been a long time since I've seen Alien 3. And it's one of those films I always forget is like one of the early CGI movies.
Yeah. And I distinctly remember when I saw this in the cinema, like at the Waller, which always makes me chuckle because I must have been like 12
You
or
were
something.
fucking 10.
Fucking classic Waller. They're just like, whatever, coming. But I distinctly remember people laughing at some of the bits, like the creature effects. And it probably would have been some of the CGI would have been to blame with some of it. And funnily enough, I'm pretty sure people were laughing at the first-person cam stuff as well from the Alien.
Fucking snobby Waller appearance and stuff. Oh, good Lord. What a choice, David.
Yeah, they're just randomly chuckling at it. Like, and I wasn't. And for a moment, I was taken out the experience. I was like, what's everyone laughing at? That's weird.
I mean, in a slightly more extreme version, I remember going to see Street Fighter with Wiggum and his dad was pissed himself throughout most of the movie. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? Street Fighter.
Van Damme.
And then a year later, I watch it on video and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, you were just swallowed up by the excitement of a big movie Street Fighter with Van Damme, basically.
I didn't want to admit to myself at the time that Blanca looked fucking daft, basically. Because it was that scene in particular where Blanca's had been like this,
Yeah, it's not the reaction the director wants to elicit from people, is it?
I mean, we're going off topic here, but fucking hell, how was no one on set looking at the guy dressed as Blanca and going, should we do this? Should we going to do this? This looks fucking stupid.
Yeah. Can we not just get a bodybuilder and just paint him green?
It's like the fucking Incredible Hulk TV show was more than a decade ago. It looked better than this.
Exactly. So I mean, just get him painted up, some like Lou Ferrigno guy.
Yeah.
Get him crouched down and just light him right so you don't fully see him.
Put a daft wig on him. Yeah.
It would have worked way better than what they ended up with.
Yeah, I don't know why the fuck they went that way.
Anyway.
But yeah, okay, I'm going to hit you with some alien law questions to clear up some fucking things. Right, how come both Ripley and the Ox get impregnated? Where did two facehuggers come from?
Well, you see, there's such a thing as a royal queen facehugger, a royal facehugger.
I've seen people refer to it as a super facehugger, and I'm like, okay, where did that come from?
Yeah, so it's something that can lay two eggs. The theory is that it lays a warrior to like protect the queen or the host that's got the queen inside them.
Because they don't do a good job of explaining this in the movie.
No, they don't. To be fair, that it's like to like quote the more recent Star Wars movie. It's like somehow Palpatine came back. To like whatever that line is in that shit.
No,
Star Wars
that's
movie.
the line.
Is it like somehow an alien got on board? Is the premise of this movie?
Like I think we always used to joke that like there should be a deleted scene of the fucking Queen just carrying an egg like a football and aliens just getting out and then going just hide it in the cupboard.
Yeah, because. Fuck, man. When you analyze it, like the Queen alien was in the landing like strut hole, whatever it's called, of the dropship. They land in the cargo bay. They're having a conversation immediately after stepping off the dropship, and then the Queen alien attacks them right there and then.
Yeah.
She blows it out of into space. End of movie.
Yeah.
The shot of the egg is clearly in the Sulaco. It's not in the loading bay. It's not in the dropship.
Yeah.
So it's just like, how did it get there? Like, I guess you could. I mean, it's we're at risk of being like, actually, and stuff, and nitpicking. But it's like, come on. There's so many other better ways you could have made this film, but they just didn't think about it. And also, it bothers me that the little snippets you get fucks me off. Yeah. Like, I would have just preferred, like, a 10-minute scene that just showed you shit happening. Yeah. Rather than, like, those little... It really just shows me that they had no confidence in what they had. No. So they just chucked it into little snippets in between the credits or whatever.
And when they do it that way, they can get away with... which sometimes I like in movies. They can get away with, like, well, you know as much as the characters. Yeah. But when it comes to something like this that makes no fucking sense... Yeah. Yeah, like there's no real logical way that there could have been a facehugger on that ship.
No, you know what I mean. And also, like I kind of alluded to in my summary, like what kind of a safety feature is that? They're like, oh, there's a fire on board the ship. Rather than waking up the only crew on board that might actually be able to do something about the fire, we'll just jettison them like rubbish into space. And like, wouldn't it... Okay, so I'll accept that maybe it was some catastrophic failure because of the acid blood. But wouldn't the EEV she was ejected in, like, actually have safeguards so that it could, like, either navigate away from planets or just crash land on a planet. So it didn't just fucking immediately kill everyone in sight. Like, what kind of an AEV is that? That's insane.
Kills everyone but the main star.
So it's just like the whole premise of the Sulaco blowing up. It always pissed me off as a kid when I first saw this film.
And I'm going to assume as well the reason why the chestburster is just knocking around inside Ripley for a year is because it's a queen.
Yeah.
And it takes longer to just... Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Conveniently.
Also, did all this... Was all this shit like with the Superface like invented for the movie? Was this from like... Because had the Dark Horse comics been out at this point?
Yeah, certainly. There'd been some, because they did like adaptions of Aliens at the time, like fairly close, like 89 and
so
things.
this isn't like taken from those or anything. This is just made up for the movie. Okay.
No, I mean there is a shot of the Superface saga in the movie, and it was like made. They made the props and they had like conceptual art of like. It's a face hugger, but it lays more than one egg.
Oh, okay.
So it was there already.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play. I guess it's like it's a further like addition to what we've already had. Like I suppose it kind of makes sense that the queen egg comes from something a bit fancier than a normal egg.
True.
Kind of makes sense to me, I guess.
Which ending do you prefer though? Do you prefer the ending where the alien bursts out of her, or where she just falls into the fire? Because I prefer seeing the actual alien burst out.
Yeah, me too. I think. Yeah, it's maybe from a director standpoint. Maybe you think it's too on the nose and stuff. But I think the audience probably would feel cheated not seeing the alien burst out of her.
Because I was quite confused that wasn't in the original, like Fincher's original version. She just died, and I was like, oh, what the fuck?
yeah. They should just totally won. I guess that's what I mean. I'm trying to see it from his point of view. That like maybe in his head he was thinking like, well, if it bursts out of her, then in some sense the alien won. Because it killed her rather than it's still her being her choice to jump in the lava sort of thing. Yeah. Maybe I can kind of see it, but I just think the audience would definitely have felt cheated to not see that chest burst.
It's just hard though, isn't it? Because like that's the version we used to for years. So it feels anticlimactic now. But if we never had that, we wouldn't be bothered. I don't think.
No,
you know what
true.
I mean?
Maybe it would have been saying, "Oh, it's so stupid how if it was flipped the other way around, maybe we would be saying now it's too over the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell.
It's kind of biased, isn't it?
Like skipping like kind of to the end of it. Like I would say, I think I like a lot of the longer version. I like the like I said, the setup's a lot better. Yeah, not the setup, but the opening scenes. Yeah, and I kind of think like in a more extreme way. I think like the Aliens special edition we're saying. I think somewhere there's a better version of the film that you could edit. You know what I mean? Yeah. It definitely needs to be fucking shorter because I was like, 2 hours and 2.5 hours. What the fuck?
And like, it's like the trap, it gets released and they're like, should we trap it again? It is ultimately their like second plan.
Yeah, because that's not in the theatrical, is they don't trap it the first time.
Yeah, it just goes two tits up. I think many of the shots are there. The guy getting killed, he drops the flare. Yeah. But like the fire, like just kills them all, and the alien runs off. Like they never get it in the thing.
Yeah, because I was just looking up some of the differences because I wasn't going to watch it twice. Didn't have time. I was too tired after one viewing. And then like how the Gollick character just kind of disappears in the theatrical version because his storyline was kind of deleted.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, which it does make sense. I was fascinated to see the assembly cut like back when it first came out and be like, that does massively make more sense. Like, all the dragon stuff and that. Yeah, it definitely would have. I like that idea of somebody being like besotted by an alien and like releasing the alien after they've caught it and stuff. Yeah, and I think that would have really. I've always seen a quote from David Fincher where he hated the idea because he thought like the audience would automatically assume, well, yeah, but it's going to get out because fuck me, we're like 50 minutes into the movie, and so it was like a stupid choice. But I think like no, it's like it would work counter that way. Like people would be like, well, it's only 50 minutes in the movie, so oh god, what's going to happen? Yeah, people would assume something terrible is going to happen and it's going to get out again, sort of thing. But yeah, it's just the movie kind of grinds to a halt at that point a little bit. Yeah, it does. And it kind of gets on track once they start running around in the dark and stuff. Yeah. In the corridors, but they're just definitely the whole film just needs re-editing again. Personally. Yeah, like another bit that kind of stood out to me
because just from what I assumed when I was younger, like the bit where there's a line from Bishop saying "I'm not a droid" when he's in pain. They kind of cut out in the theatrical all the like pain from his fucking ear hanging off his head.
Yeah.
Like I just assumed when I was a kid because of that injury and he's not reacting to it. I thought, oh, he's just like a new kind of Bishop with like human looking blood. I don't know.
Which could be theoretically possible. I mean, he's credited on the movie itself as Bishop 2.
Bishop 2.
In the credits. So I just don't think they knew really either way.
Yeah.
But I've always held it. He was a human, basically.
Oh yeah, with definitely with like what would have been Fincher's preferred version. Like I think he was supposed to be like the creator of Bishop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what do you think about? Do you prefer dog or ox?
I think I prefer Ox.
Yeah.
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 It's a bit more visceral and like, and I just don't like seeing dogs getting fucked up in movies.
Yeah, true. I think it's cool. Like in the assembly cut out, it's like it establishes early that they do have oxes and stuff, and then it's just one that like keeled over and died sort of thing. Yeah, because of having the egg in it and stuff.
Yeah,
it's lucky that they had the footage that they had, I guess.
Yeah, definitely
to be able to like cobble that together.
Yeah, it just kind of shows how much, like, as well as just the $7 million that was spent before they started shooting, just how much money they wasted by having to go back and because I don't really understand what was the reason for changing it from an ox to a dog.
I think it was just because they were like wanting to restructure. There's like an element of the start of the movie that they wanted to change and it no longer made sense from memory. I can't remember quite, but there's something about the way they restructured it wouldn't make any sense anymore with the way that the alien was born or some bullshit reason.
I don't get that because the other opening is just like other guys finding the jettison like pods and stuff. Yeah. And one of them's got a dog.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it also could equally just be some weird producer thing where they're like, oh, I don't want to say a ox, I want to say a dog.
We took a survey and audiences are really into dogs at the moment. Fucking see how much money Turner and Hooch made. Fucking hell.
The audience are going to love seeing this dog getting ripped apart.
It's like, hold on, if audiences like cute dogs, would they also like exploding dogs?
Let's try it out. I do like, though, that the film, like, introduces the whole idea of an alien like kind of changing genetically based on its host. Yeah, that's another thing I was going to ask as well. Like, did that start with this, or is that something that was introduced in the comics? Because I always remember, like, in the comics, like, there was other kinds of aliens, like bigger aliens and like more whippet type aliens and stuff. So I always wondered if that was from there or just it spawned from this movie. Basically. I think this is probably credited with like. If it didn't create it, then it certainly like popularized the idea that the alien would change depending on what its host was and stuff.
Because even like the like hive aliens and aliens are like different than the alien and alien, right?
Yeah. The like the drones and warriors.
Yeah, that's a warrior.
Types.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah. And this is like kind of like a warrior alien as well, but it's like based on like a non-human version of an alien.
Yeah, I guess that would explain then. Just thinking about it, I don't know why I've never realized this. Like that would explain why the alien and aliens are like humanoid, like on two legs.
Yeah. And obviously, it also like when you think about it. In Alien and Aliens, they weren't quite as aggressive. Like certainly the Alien and Aliens, they were more about like building the hive, protecting the hive, gathering people for more hosts for the hive. Yeah, like, you see, like Hudson gets taken away. He doesn't get killed; they just drag him away. But in like Alien 3, its primary function is to like protect the alien embryo. So it's like way more savage, and it's just like as soon as it sees someone, you're dead. Basically, it just goes for you and kills you. So I kind of like that idea. I think that's a theory that's been popularized in the community that it's like it's a more aggressive version because it's protecting the queen embryo. But I like that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I guess there is a lot to like we could go into, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of things that really jump out at us every time I watch it.
Yeah.
The autopsy scene.
Oh, yeah.
Just David Fincher wanting to be like, hey, let's get a girl and break her chest open and stuff. Because like the film literally sets up later on in the movie that they've got access to advanced medical scanners like on board the E.
Oh, yeah.
She fucking scans herself. Why are they tearing open a corpse when they could have just scanned it?
I've just thought that's really like when Clemens tells her he's bullshit, really. He was a fucking butcher. That's what he was. Okay, I suppose we'll do this barbaric autopsy, and He's like,
Just lifting out a battle axe and that. Unfortunately, we don't have actual autopsy equipment.
I have this broken chainsaw. It may take a while to get started.
Like, why are you starting on a leg, mate? So yeah, I just was always like, it's just there to make people feel uncomfortable and
And
like,
it does, because the fucking those bone noises when he's using that saw on a rib cage. I forgot about that. I was like, oh, there's something about this scene I fucking hated. It's that noise. Yeah.
I mean, you've got to applaud Charles Dance. The way he just does it so cold.
I fucking love Charles Dance. He's fucking great in everything. It's just a shame that like 92 and 93 he was in two very poorly received movies where he was the best thing in them, like this and Last Action Hero.
Yeah. And it's to the film's negative. He dies too early in this movie.
I forgot he died then as well. I remembered he died about 20 minutes in. I was like, oh, fuck, he dies, doesn't he? But I forgot it was then, so it actually got us by surprise again.
Yeah, I just think it would have been better if it would have had more impact if he died. Maybe just a smidge later, like a scene or two later. Something.
Yeah. Because I mean, I was going to say in my highlights, like one of my highlights is like just the chemistry between Sigourney Weaver and Charles Dance.
Yeah,
it
really comes through, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame they had to fucking go down the route of like, I'm woman, you man, let's have sex.
Yeah.
I was just a bit. I mean, I get like, probably been a while for the pair.
Yeah, she literally hasn't shagged in hundreds of years or something at this point, technically. Been in cryosleep for, 52 years or something?
Yeah.
In between the movies and stuff.
I was going to say, what is the time between Aliens and Alien 3?
That's a good question.
Because it does have the year at the start, doesn't it, or not?
Yeah, it does. 2179 it is. I think it's very close after Aliens from memory. I mean, which would make sense thinking about it, actually, because the alien egg has been put on board the ship. So yeah, I think it's weeks, if that, after Aliens. Yeah.
And the other highlight was just I like the first half of the film, at least in the assembly cut form. I think the first half's better than the second half.
Me too, yeah. I wasn't surprised when you messaged us and said, like, you're enjoying it. And I did chuckle and think, well, yeah, but I always kind of feel that as well. Like, once you get over the whole, fucking hell, the dead, Jesus. Once you get over that sort of initial thing, it is an interesting movie.
Yeah.
I like the prison stuff. It's got a great cast.
Yeah, I like all the performances.
Yeah, but they just starts to like lose it a bit. Like once you, they said probably once you get past. Well, no, probably in the middle of them capturing the alien the first time. Yeah, it starts to lose us.
Yeah, it feels like it starts and stops too many times around the second half of the movie. Something like that. There's just something off about the pace of the movie.
And it's the same with the theatrical version as well. It isn't something that's, that problem with the extended. The theatrical lost us as well about at the point where all shit goes to hell.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and of course just the poster shot as well is a big highlight. It's just a cracking shot, and it's an iconic shot from the franchise. Even though it's not a popular movie, people remember that shot. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's some really iconic imagery, and like it's not my first choice, the brown stuff, but at least it has a strong sort of director's signature all over this movie. You can definitely tell who made it. Yeah, like each film have their own unique looks. Well, at least the first three have their own unique looks, and but they all feel like they belong in the same world. I wouldn't say that about Resurrection. I like how Resurrection looks in a shot, but it just doesn't feel like an Aliens movie.
We'll get all that. Yeah. But yeah, I like the xenomorph in it. I think all the stuff was done really well, apart from obviously the ropey CGI stuff. I like the idea of it being like a faster, more brutal one. Yeah, I like the way it looks. I like the fact that Tom Woodruff Jr. does quite a good job. The small bits that he has. Yeah, dressed up as alien. I always think it's interesting, and I think this was a thing. Like, surely the Americans would have struggled to understand some of the accents. That's what I thought as well, because it's all just like Cockneys, basically. Yeah, they're all fucking Cockneys and like Yorkshire accents and that. Yeah. So surely they would have just struggled a little bit. Yeah. Like, was it just a whole bunch of British people that got dumped on this prison planet? Yes, that's what I was thinking. Who apparently like Shirley Temple, because Shirley Temple gets a shout out at one point in this movie. Yeah. Which I thought, Shirley Temple, like, isn't it like 200 years into the future? Would they know who Shirley Temple is? No. But again, maybe that should be being anal. I was going to say, they'd have to like come up with some other reference that doesn't exist, and everyone would be like, who the fuck's that? You can't win, really. No, you can't. One of the main highlight for me is the scissor bit towards the end where they run into each other. And the guy's got the scissors. He's holding the scissors and he goes, "Fucking idiot."
Yeah.
He's like, "Fucking moron." And he turns the scissors around.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hold him like that,
Gives
you'll
him
kill someone."
Cracks him in the side of the head.
Like, genuinely, it always gets a laugh out of me. That bit.
Just such a stupid thing to be concerned about when you're getting chased by an alien. So yeah, what about like merch and stuff? I won't go over Blu-ray because it's essentially the same thing I said 2 weeks ago. Just get the box sets.
Yeah. So I'll only just briefly mention that NECA does have a few Alien sort of 3 stuff. They've done a dog Alien. They did an Alien 3 accessory pack.
Really?
Which comes with Spike the dog. With interchangeable head. Queen face hugger thing as well. And a little chest burster and stuff.
Oh yeah, and the little green one from the poster and stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool. And they also randomly they did like one of the Marines from the end, the Jarhead Marines at the very end.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've always liked
little
how
dude.
they look, like the costume design and
Yeah.
stuff. It feels like
kinda
it's
like-
from the first movie.
I was just about to say between Alien and Aliens,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, like a mashup. And they did a little Ripley figure that, if you squint at it, it kind of looks like Sigourney Weaver.
It's like terrifying Ripley.
Yeah, totally. It's not quite works.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't do like a rape scene action playset or something. Comes to the bad guys.
That's another thing as well. The dude, from, you know, the guy. What's his character name again? Hold on. Junior, the guy with like the teardrop tattoo.
Yes. Yeah.
He's the guy from like Mindhunter, that David Fincher show.
Right, yeah.
And when I watched that show, I was like, he's really freaking good. Why have I never seen him in anything before? He's like pretty much in every David Fincher movie. I just never realised.
David Fincher guy, basically.
Yeah, he's in like this,
Cool.
Fight Club. There's one more as well. I don't think he's in 7. But like once I noticed that, I would just be like, oh, it's that guy. But like I'd never really noticed him until Mindhunter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll need to watch that Mindhunter like properly. I think I watched like 2 episodes and then was like, that's enough.
It's just really good. It's just the fact that it got fucking cancelled is disappointing. So you're going to just have 2 seasons and then probably not a fucking conclusion.
Yeah. So we were talking about the other day. It's hard to recommend a show like that.
Yeah. And it's just like, you know, it's like the Avengers if you're interested in serial killers. We're just like, oh, is that him?
Getting them all together for one big film at the end. You know?
Yeah.
Like fucking 7 Samurai or something.
Dark 7 Samurai.
So there has been like a few bits and bobs of toys and collectibles. I think Hot Toys have done some stuff over the years. But looking at video games, there was a big game to tie in with the movie. Alien 3 It was released on like multiple platforms.
Yeah, I had it on my SNES when I was a kid.
And it's interesting that there were very different games. The Mega Drive or the Genesis, if you're in America.
Yeah.
And the SNES, there were similar concepts. It was like, I think they did wrestle, the guys that were making the game originally, they did wrestle with the idea of how do we make a game with just one alien?
Yeah.
And they did try it. They did like, it was a top-down action game where the alien would come like in and out of the game and was trying to get you. And it's kind of, I guess, like really rudimentary
That's
alien
isolation. Yeah.
But, you know, rightly so, given the technology and where games were at the time, they're just like, people would hate this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So both games just have you just taking on an army of aliens,
With
basically.
pulse rifles and flamethrowers and shit, yeah.
Yeah, so it's right that they did that. Alien 3 on the SNES, though, is way more, almost like it's approaching an RPG to some degree.
I just remember there being loads of things, and not loads, but there was just like certain things that was like, one in particular moment when it was like, go and then weld the door shut behind you, and I was like, how the fuck do I do that?
Yeah.
I just had no idea.
Classic games back then, they're just like, just figure it out.
I remember like some lad lived in my street was at the time was like, oh, I'll show you how to do it, and he just fucking turned around and flamethrowed the door for 2 seconds and went, there you go, it's done. I'm like, I don't think it is. I don't think that's how you weld a door.
No, I think there was a weld, like if you pressed like a button, open a button or something.
Yeah, I remember trying everything and like I couldn't figure out how to do it, and I think that's when I stopped playing it.
Yeah, classic games. I think I've beaten both the SNES and the Mega Drive versions, and I think it took about an hour when I like focused and just did it. So they just, back then they had to find like, to make games last, they just made them impossibly hard.
Arsey ways to confuse a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I followed a guide obviously to beat these games, but like following a guide, it was like piss easy to beat the games.
I do think the Mega Drive version looks better.
Yeah, there's something about it. Whenever I see screenshots of the Mega Drive game as well, it's like one of those game screenshots where I can just hear it in my head.
Yeah.
Like it's got a great soundtrack and all the audio's like really memorable.
Yeah, because looking at it now, like I was saying, I was surprised to learn there were kind of two different games, but the Mega Drive one does look familiar. Maybe I like had a ROM of it years ago or something.
Possibly, yeah. Or I was playing it. I played it a shitload.
Because that like loading screen is so familiar with just the Alien, but maybe that's in the SNES one as well. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Not that particular shot. No, I know. Because technically it's the wrong Alien. It's more like an Alien from Aliens.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And I think there is a really nice like pixelated shot of the Alien from Alien 3 in the SNES version.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, both very good. Just interesting tidbit. It was actually going to be a Commodore 64 game.
Oh, really?
And the Commodore 64 game was the base version of the game, and all the other versions are technically like ports. So, which is kind of weird.
That's crazy.
And the Commodore 64 one ended up coming out way after every other version.
Poor Commodore 64.
It was at the end of its life, I guess, at that point.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They focused on the ones that were going to make money. So yeah, obviously, I'll kind of mention it fits in very briefly, but the Alien trilogy game kind of had some elements and tie-ins with Alien 3 as well.
Was the box the Alien from the Alien 3 poster?
Yeah.
The curled up facehugger thing?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like the pinched elements from the game as well. Like, so,
Yeah.
but not quite an Alien 3
No.
game. So yes.
No artwork for Alien 3?
Oh shit! Yeah, so there was, I think in 2020 there was like a bit of an event where like they were celebrating like whatever it would have been. The was it 2022?
Yeah, it says 2022 here.
Yeah, there was like a bit of a thing to celebrate it, and there was a few pieces of art commissioned. I think because of that, there is a few bits of Alien 3 art, but other than that, sadly, there's just nobody gives this movie love, which kind of surprises
Which is
me.
a shame because like visually, it's pretty great.
Yeah. So just it's strange. So yeah, not a ton of art out there, but yeah, looking at the C. Matthewman design one.
Oh yeah,
with the brown, I quite like that.
That
It's
is
like
good, yeah.
captures the brown elements of the
Yeah,
movie.
definitely.
Very visual. And John Barry Ballaran.
Yeah, that's nice.
Quite like that bold choice.
Yeah.
Just having her like front and center on the cover. And then the other two that I kind of wanted to mention was the Ivan Quinet ones. I really like them.
Yeah, we've looked at their art a bunch of times in the show, and it's always really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's, I don't know, like that black and white one with the hood up. There's something about that's really,
It's very
really
nice.
Nice,
Yeah.
yeah. I chucked up a few other bits, but probably not my most favourite art, to be fair.
All right, well, we'll not fucking talk shit about artists. on this
Exactly.
show.
No, I don't want to, because it's very subjective.
Of course
it's
it
not
is.
my favourite, but there it is.
Yeah. Right then, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go over Blu-ray because just buy the box sets basically because it's a big movie. It's always going to have nice official releases. So like big studio releases. So
Yeah.
like I said, you've got the pretty much perfect version of the assembly cut now on Blu-ray. And I don't know if 4K yet. I don't think Alien 3's had a 4K yet, has it?
No, I don't think it does, no.
Right, and let's take a break and cool our body temperatures because I'm fucking dying.
I need to go down.
I need to cool down.
Champion Cinema.
So, 1997. So, the desperate need for yet another Aliens movie.
All right.
So we get Alien Resurrection, which of course they had to do. They only had certain titles.
This is I think the start of using words like that as sequel things. It's the
Rebirth,
it's the daddy
reborn.
of the R sequel. Yeah.
With a run time of 1 hour 49 if you're watching the theatrical, but we were doing the special version, so 1 hour 56.
We punished ourselves just for you folks.
Bit more. There isn't a true special edition or director's cut of this movie.
No.
I think the director was happy with what he had put out in the theatre.
He says on the little intro, at least on the Blu-ray, he says like basically the theatrical one is the director's cut. That's the one he's happy with. But he just wanted to do this because they offered it, and like they could do a few things they couldn't do during the movie. So.
So fair play, fair play. So yeah, of course, directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, starring Sigourney Weaver, of course, as Ripley, Winona Ryder as Cole, Dominique Pinon as Reese, Ron Perlman as Jonah, Gary Durden as Christy, Michael Wincott as Elgin, Kim Flowers as Hillard, Dan Hedaya as General Perez, J.E. Freeman as Dr. Wren, and Brad Dourif as Gediman. So, what is it about?
Well, when blah blah does Bluebody, Ripley cloned by science men. Cool and tough space guys arrive. Brad Dourif. Aliens happen. There you go.
Yes.
That's the movie, folks.
Somehow she comes back.
Yeah, basically. I mean, people give shit to Rise of Skywalker for that line, but just because they said it. But like, films have done that in the past, and but they just haven't had the balls to just say it.
It's always just been a thing, hasn't it? Let's face it.
Because like I mean, it probably wasn't as much. I'm sure it got the piss taken out of it at the time by going like the fucking cloned her. But like that's because of movies like this. That's like a joke now to be like, I don't know, the clone. Like we've joked about shit like that before. Like, oh, it's up there with like he's got a twin brother.
I'm sure like there's a clip like at the premiere of Alien 3. And I can't remember who it is. It might be one of the producers or it's a writer. But somebody on the red carpet was asked the question. So is this the end? Like they ask a spoiler question because they literally say she dies at the end of the movie, like in the question, and says like, is this the end of the franchise? Do you feel? And I think that guy literally says, they'll probably clone her. Yeah. And like somebody like took note of that and went, great idea.
Some exec like saw that footage and was like, that's genius.
For what a fucking nonsensical so. If I die desperately needing the shit, and then I get cloned 100 years later, the first thing I'm gonna feel is desperately needing the shit again. Like that's not how it works, right?
You just say, "Why did you bring me back?" As you wake up having a massive shit.
It's like if they cloned Elvis, he would be like, "Oh my god, man!" It's like just because didn't he die mid shitting?
Apparently, allegedly. That's the urban legend that he died on the shitter.
Because what I'm referring to is the fact that they clone her, but she's got an alien inside of her. As per the end of Alien 3. Like, I don't think it works like that.
No, probably not. No. Because they just clone her from, like, they said there's blood samples on the facility for Alien 3, right?
Yeah. But, whatever. I guess you've got to be willing to just get past the stupid premise anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
Although we should talk about, the very, very opening of this movie, that is an additional bit for the special edition.
Oh,
The bug thing.
What the fuck?
I think that was some sort of French thing, some sort of weird attempt at humour or something. I don't know.
Joss Whedon wrote the fucking thing, and that seems like a fucking Joss Whedon thing to do. Like, let's start with something kooky and wacky and fun.
Yeah, true.
Because I literally because I was like, afterwards I went, okay, what was the original opening again? I'm like, it's so much more effective. Just like you're kind of saying like blurred images of the Ripley clone and stuff being formed. Well. And then I know this is probably not what but it felt like it to me. I was like, was that meant to represent the film spitting in the fan's face?
Probably.
So that's not a good way to start your movie, just like right in the camera.
They're just warning you. If anything, it was kind of nice. They were going, listen, right, this is the bar. If you want to just press stop now, you probably should. Because,
I will say, like, there's just, I don't know, I was going to say mid-90s stink it has, but I don't necessarily, there's just something about, like, 96 to 1908. Certain films just have this fucking certain style or, like, feel. Not necessarily style, because this is very its own style, but, like, and overall, just because of the story and the plot and the way the characters are, it just has a fucking corny feel, which just feels fucking weird, especially watching it right after Alien 3, which is quite a serious fucking dour movie, you know what I mean?
It makes Alien 3 look like
Alien?
Shakespearean play or something.
It look like Alien?
It does. It's just so full of, like, one-liners, like trailer moments, basically. Yeah. It's full of trailer moments, this movie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say what you want about 3, but at least the characters aren't written like they're in a fucking edgy anime.
Yeah.
And like all the character traits and like quirks are like just they like explain them to you.
Yeah,
like, hey man, you drink too much. Yeah, but I like pussy. It's like fucking hell, mate.
Yeah, it really punches you in the face with stupid. Like the entire movie.
Yeah.
I just don't like the comedy, I guess, is like not something that should. Comedy can be in an Alien film to some degree. I think there's always, even Aliens and stuff has bits of comedy here and there, in its own way. like from the way the Marines interact and stuff.
Yeah,
and
but
that.
that's like, just like genuine banter that you find funny, but it's not it's not forced comedy. It's not like we need a joke now, like because this is very fucking obviously very Joss Whedon.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. It's a styles clash. To coin a wrestling term, Joss Whedon has written a Joss Whedon script.
Yeah.
And the Jean-Pierre Jouan's attempting to do his movie really straight, I guess, is kind of like how I always felt.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
He's attempting to do it in a straight way, and he doesn't kind of get the script, and it just doesn't work, basically. It's weird.
Apparently, he didn't really speak English. He had an interpreter on set as well, so that's gonna put up a bit of a weird barrier to like getting the tone across and stuff.
I mean, what a weird choice anyway. What a weird choice. Like, he's just hot off the back of doing City of Lost Children, and then like get him to do the new Alien film. Like, it's strange.
Yeah, it's just how I don't know how fucking Hollywood works. It's weird. So they like look at a film that's completely different from a project they're developing and go, he'd be good. I don't understand. I don't know.
No, because there's some stuff. I'll say there's some stuff that I don't mind. I like the idea of the exploring this theme of like she's like a human alien hybrid.
Yeah.
I don't mind that as such. Not the execution. I think the execution's like blah. But the idea, like, there's a movie in there somewhere. All these movies, the running theme is that the company wants to get a sample.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, but what are they going to do, though? Like, what's the plan? Are they just going to make aliens and just set them on their enemies? Or are they going to experiment them on, like, medical terms?
Yeah, because they've already established that, like, at this point in the future, Weyland-Yutani doesn't exist anymore. So it's not them that want it for, like, the bioweapons division and stuff.
Yeah. So, I kind of like the idea of it's like, it could almost be used for like super soldiers or something, and making,
It does seem like basically they're trying to do the exact same thing that Weyland-Yutani were going to do. They're just trying to sugarcoat it so she'll be. It's funny though that, like, she has all the best traits of being a hybrid alien. There's no negatives to it at all.
Although I do like to think, okay, so the Queen Alien gets like a secondary sort of, whatever the term they use in the movie, but she gives birth in a human fashion. So I'm like, does that mean Ripley lays eggs out of her butt? Has she had the trade-off and you just never see it in the movie?
Just hiding a big sack in her pants.
Totally. Because,
just keep shaking yolks out of her pants like...
Yeah, I'm like, oh, shit. I hope no one saw that. Because, she doesn't really do anything interesting, though, sadly. Sigourney Weaver in this, really.
I like her performance in it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I like how she looks. I like how how she and how she holds herself and stuff. She's quite like unnerving and scary at certain points.
Yeah, like quite intense and stuff, yeah. And she plays it like super innocent in some places and stuff. Like when she's dressed up in like that white outfit. Yeah. And she's like swinging on the chair and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's interesting that like it's a movie that's got two female protagonists, basically, front and centre. So that's kind of interesting as well.
It's a very fucking Joss Whedon choice, though, isn't it? To make the android a cute pixie woman.
Yeah.
It's so fucking Joss Whedon, it almost makes us sick.
I think the original idea was even more Joss Whedon. I think the original idea was it was Newt that gets cloned. And Newt has like somehow got like the abilities of the alien through the cloning process as well. But she's basically a slayer, a vampire slayer. She's like a teenage girl and she's like kicking ass or something.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like just reeks of Joss Whedon. That's all. Yeah.
It's just a bad idea. Yeah. Because I think they literally hired him because they knew they wanted a movie where there was a female that had super abilities, and they looked just directly at the writer of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, basically, because he'd written the movie. Yeah,
because there was the movie, but what a mad year for him, because this was the year Buffy starred the series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he has a big Hollywood franchise sequel on his resume, and then fucking a massive hit TV show. So good year for him.
Yeah, crazy. But anyway, Winona Ryder. I'm not a fan of Winona Ryder. I just never have been.
I never have been either, really.
No. People say it's a really good performance. Like, oh, the movie's bad, but Winona Ryder and Sigourney Weaver are really good. And I think, no. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver, yes.
I was kind of put off by performance in this. It felt really weird and wooden in parts and stuff.
Yeah, like she always sounds bunged up for some reason. I was like, The way she talks, it's like, she got a cold. Sort of fucking blow your nose before you do your scenes, for fuck's sake. I mean, there's a hilarious bit when the reveal that she's a robot. And she gets shot, and she comes back, and the door opens, and she's just like, this way. And it's like so wooden. It's like she just had enough of the movie at this point, basically. So yeah, I personally don't rate her performance in this movie. Maybe apparently she was a massive Alien fan, and she like jumped at the chance to be in the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
So I don't think she was like dialing it in or anything. But it just comes off as a bit, like you said, wooden, basically.
Yeah, it's weird because it's not like I think she's ever bad, but I just don't rate her like super highly like some people do. But yeah, there's just something about her performance in this. It just feels off. I don't know.
Yeah, she's certainly not putting in a like performance of a lifetime or like that. But I think everybody else, I kind of enjoy the cast overall. I think Ron Perlman's a good laugh.
I would have preferred a lot more Michael Wincott.
Well, yeah,
I forgot he died so quick.
Distinctly remember in the cinema, like I probably saw this on my own, just sat in the cinema, like nobody else there, and I remember being really disappointed when Michael Wincott died.
Yeah,
I think I was like really excited he was in it, basically at the time, probably because of the Crow, I guess, and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, well, and he just kind of goes out a bit of a bitchy way. Just like he's picking up guns and he gets dragged down and he never gets a chance to fight or anything. No. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah, they could have kept him around longer because I mean, you never know who you're going to cast, but like when they'd cast them, they should have been like, oh fuck. Like, just create some other character. I mean, I guess it makes sense in a way that, like, they lose the captain and that ups the stakes. I get that.
Exactly.
But it's just because I'm just biased. I just want more Michael Wincott.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing, though, isn't it funny that, like, Brad Dourif only does sci-fi if it's the ropey fourth movie in the franchise?
The space movie out in space somewhere. Yeah, because it's interesting, like, this and Critters 4.
Yeah.
Strange choice.
They rang him up and were like, we're doing the new Aliens. Are you interested? He's like, wait a minute, which one's this? Fourth one, yes.
He does a good job in this movie.
Well,
bless him.
He just does the best Brad Dourif stuff, doesn't he? It's just Brad Dourif being Brad Dourif, which is awesome.
His little alien face that he does is like one of my highlights, genuinely highlighted.
Yeah, that is a good moment. Yeah.
Just fucking with an alien. Totally insane. And I like the threat, the feeling when it escapes. I like that, like, oh shit moment. I mean, I like the idea of them like attacking each other, so the blood melts through the floor and stuff because they are, they're all crafty and intelligent. Yeah, and I like that like feeling of dread and panic where you're like, oh fuck, like the aliens are out of the cage,
and they seem to be quite smart. Like a lot smarter this time. Where like remembers to press the button when that guard comes in and stuff.
Yeah. Like it turns the table. Yeah. Just before I move on to I was going to move on to the aliens, but just give a shout out to Dan Hedaya as well. Obviously, the dude from Commando.
Oh, he's always good at everything as well. Yeah.
So originally, they actually shot the scene where when the emergency klaxons go off and he sits up, he was topless.
And they were like. They were like, you're way too hairy.
Yeah, the test audiences were like people laughed and people like went, so they reshot the scene and put a top on him.
I don't know if that makes it look worse because it accentuates his hairy shoulders and stuff.
He's got crazy like afros growing off his shoulders.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who just looks fuzzy.
Like, shave your fucking shoulders, mate. You're in a big film.
I know, but he'd have to imagine how itchy that would be and how often you'd have to do it every day. He probably grows like 2 inches of hair on himself every day.
I hate the moment when he gets killed and he reaches back to get his brain.
Yeah, I remember that during that scene. I was like, I'm sure Chris hates this bit.
That was the bit where the film had already started to losers. Yeah. I disliked the facehuggery stuff. I disliked the Michael Wincott dying. And then just that scene, I was like, oh, fuck off. Yeah. So I knew I was in for a rough time.
Just the final cap off on the Joss Whedon being the writer thing. Mm-hmm. There's something I've always found interesting. It's a segment from a book I've had for years called Hong Kong Babylon. Oh, yeah. But a quote from Terence Chang, who was like John Woo's producer for a bit, and he was Chow Yun-fat's manager at the time. And he was asked about taking like a hard line because he was like rejecting lots of roles for Hollywood for Chow Yun-fat because he was just getting like man with gun roles and stuff. Yeah. And he says, if people want him, they have to be serious about him. Like Aliens 4, Joss Whedon said he's a huge Chow Yun-fat fan and he wrote a part especially for him. But when I read the script, I was furious. He's in a lot of scenes, but always in the background carrying a gun. Occasionally, he shoots some people. That's a part for Chow Yun-fat? I don't think so. And I've always had that quote in my head whenever I've like saw a bit from this film or watched it. And I always assumed, based on the character having two guns, that it was Christie that he wrote.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
reading it this time and saying he's just in the background a lot, I'm pretty sure it's probably the Raymond Cruz's character, like the security guy.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Because he just stands around in the background, has a few lines and shoots aliens. So I'm like, that would be the role for fucking giant fat.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's like I'm kind of the same. I've always thought, maybe it was Christie
just because he has like the two guns, you know.
But he does kind of get something to do in the movie. That character, for all that, like he does the like random thing in movies where he just decides he's going to die at one point in the movie.
Yeah, where all he really had to do was just wobble his foot.
Like,
really,
literally an alien just hanging by one finger on his foot.
Just point your foot down; it'll slip off, mate.
But instead he's like, nah, I've just fucking had enough of this movie.
Yeah,
and just kills himself. But yeah, so like just to be like alien nerdy and stuff for a moment, like. Firstly, I don't like the aliens in this film, really. I think they're too slimy.
I know, Jesus, they go way fucking overboard with the slime, yeah.
Like, just poured a bucket of KY jelly on them and stuff.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's just like, ugh. The whole, like, face hugger thing. The timeline of this movie is weird. Like, they've captured people, they've put them in front of eggs. The eggs have already hatched into fully grown aliens. And they've been experimented on, and they've escaped, and they've already set up a hive on board the ship.
Yeah,
like what the fuck? Like, how long does this film take? Is it set over a month or something?
And how come that one guy's alien hasn't hatched in him yet?
Well, that's what I mean. Like the timelines are all weird about the movie. When you really think about it, it's like how long? I get the feeling it takes place over like 2-3 days max.
Yeah, from
the like crew of the Betty arriving till like the shit kicking off. So it's like, well, what's going on? Like, doesn't make any sense. And then the newborn, which we'll get to.
Oh yeah.
Like that's like birthed and like gestated and birthed and stuff. It's like, well, how long is this all taking place?
Yeah, exactly.
So just that stuff like bothered us. Like literally in the cinema, I was like, oh, they've been like impregnated and they've already given birth and they're already fully grown, the aliens.
Yeah,
that's like mental.
Well, that's another thing that like makes it stand apart. Not just like the visual style, but just like the storytelling style. It's just like wham bam, fucking let's get things moving.
Yeah,
type of thing, and it's just it just feels corny compared to the other three.
It does, yeah, it does. And there's far too many bits in this film where it's like just like indulgent. Like gratuitously indulgent. But then she finds all the clones and like burns them. There's like 30 to 60 seconds footage that just didn't need to be there, where it's like all flames and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's just lingering on things, and you're like, fucking hell, man, get on with it.
I will say though, that's probably like the actual scene is probably the best scene in the film.
Yeah, I do like all the creature work and stuff, and apparently that was the first time Sigourney Weaver had seen the props.
Yeah, I've read that.
They kept them from her, so she just like walked in and reacted and stuff.
Because I remember the first time I watched that, I didn't know anything about that scene, and like when she walks around the corner, I was genuinely fucking disturbed. Like that's such a freaky scene, and Sigourney Weaver like plays it really well.
Yeah. It just goes like full French, basically. I was like,
it's almost like a fucking scene out of The Thing.
yeah, and she's all like upside down legs and stuff.
Yeah, and like weird, like torted torso and like black teeth and stuff. It's fucking awful. She reacts to it like she's actually that's what she's looking at.
Yeah, like horrified by it. I just like to think that as the failed clone was burning to death in agony, she was screaming, "I didn't mean by flame." Fucking, you could have shot us.
Yeah, son, a bit quicker, love. You've all got guns. Come on.
Just poor lass, just burnt to death in utter agony.
Yeah.
But yeah, the scene itself's really good. The reactions and stuff. But I think there's just there's like the water bit.
Yeah.
There's a bit where she like pulls out a tongue of an alien, and just a lot of it just doesn't serve any purpose.
No, I thought that about the tongue of the alien thing, and then I was like, oh, that's just there for later on when she does that to Ron Perlman.
Yeah, it's
so
like
they can have a little one-liner.
Yeah. It's because I mentioned the water bit, like. Total disastrous idea to shoot it in water and stuff. I think like I've definitely seen a making of at one point where all the crew were like miserable making it, like absolutely hated it. Ron Perlman knocked himself out during filming. He banged his head on a sprinkler, and he was out cold. Jesus. The divers had to like pull him out and like resuscitate him. He had swallowed loads of water. They all had safety divers assigned to them. and the ass girl lady.
Yeah.
Her diver had fucked off for something to eat, and she like ran out of air, and like nobody was there to give her air, and she almost died and stuff.
Jesus.
So it sounds like a total disaster.
Yeah,
Basically.
you never hear good stories from movies that have a lot of like underground stuff, like underwater stuff shot in big water tanks. Like I always remember on the Big Trouble in Little China commentary, that scene where they've got to swim through all the dead bodies and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Kurt Russell says everyone just got really bad ear infections.
Yeah, because that's it, isn't it? It's like, how do you do it with all the sets and like all this stuff floating around in the water and shit? You cannot keep it all clean.
Yeah. And I imagine just like doing water stuff when like you've got like props in water with you and there's like hot studio lamps. Heating everything. That just sounds like a breeding ground for bacteria, doesn't it?
Total nightmare.
Yeah. Another highlight as well. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I kind of like it from a fun cinematic point of view, but the guy using the chest burster to kill the bad guy at the end.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, isn't it?
And it's up there with like what I've always said, like someone using a lightsaber like a gun, which we finally got in Last Jedi.
Yeah,
it's one of those moments where I'm like, wonder why that's never been done.
Yeah. No, it got a chuckle out of us definitely.
Yeah,
it
still
does
moment.
to this day. Like, could have done without the camera going down his throat a bit. Like,
well, you know,
it's like, because I think that's the weird thing about this movie. Like, I think it's the camera work that makes it feel not like an alien movie.
Yeah, it is. That's what I mean. Like, if this was a totally separate sci-fi movie, it would be a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
you'd be a lot more forgiven.
Yeah,
with it.
like because I like the camera work and the style of it. It just feels weird that it's all within an alien story. Like I said, that chest burster bit would be completely fucking out of place in any of the other movies, but it works here because it's more wacky and crazy. Yeah.
There's one bit that like probably scratched my head at watching this again, and I always forget about it. The bit when I forgot his name. The dude that plays the Marine, you said it before, Tuco guy.
Oh, Raymond Cruz.
Raymond Cruz. Like his kind of acting bit when they realise that Cole's like a robot and stuff.
Yeah.
He's all like, "Oh man, I fucking love this kind of robots, man."
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I just kept imagining Giant Fat saying that, doing that line. And I've just been like, that would have been fucking weird.
It would have been awful.
It's like there's just some of the lines I don't know what the fuck. Like when Ron Perlman's like asking Ripley about, you've seen these aliens before then, and like Joss Whedon's wrote him like he's a 14-year-old girl from LA.
Yeah.
Oh, so wow, like. What did you do, like, man? Like, and I'm like, why the fuck? If I was Ron Perlman, I'd be like, my character wouldn't speak like this.
Yeah, like you've been setting him up as this gruff, like, badass the entire movie. I like the fact that Ron Perlman just clearly was having a good time. He's one of them guys you could just say he was like,
and to be honest, I do like him in the movie. He does a good job.
And you're right, though. Like, that's just a lot of the lines. They're pure and simple. They're written to just be in the trailer. Like, that line is literally in the trailer. The whole, like, I died thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, God.
Yeah, what's another line as well near the end? When she runs back to the ship and comes in the room and they say something like, "Oh, I thought you were dead," and she's like, "I've heard that before." Something and I'm like, I'm sure that was in the trailer.
Yeah. There's a line, and obviously they didn't put it in the trailer because they're swearing, but like they're like, "Who do I have to fuck to get off this boat?" thing.
Yeah,
and it's like, it just feels like it's a weird line out of place.
Yeah.
Just before I forget, the fact that we're Cole, I like the thing that they set up in this movie. Because I don't think it might have been deliberate, I can't remember, but so the robots have an alphabetical naming thing. So like Ash was A, Bishop was B.
Oh yeah.
Cole is C, and then in Prometheus it's David. Yeah. It's kind of like that idea, I guess.
I've never really noticed that before. Yeah.
So and I like the fact that it's got another robot in. They find another way to sneak in an artificial person. I think it's cool.
But like I said, because it's Joss Whedon, it has to be some little pixie girl.
Yeah, totally. Who's like emo robot? She like hates herself.
Yeah.
And there's literally a bit in the movie where she's like, "I'm disgusting."
Yeah.
It's like strange. The one thing I really like about the movie is that in the special edition though, it ends in Blackpool. I thought that was pretty cool. The land in Blackpool, and you see the Blackpool Tower.
I imagine that they're like they do Alien 5, and it's like it goes back to Alien 3, and it's all British again. It's not actually Paris; it's just Blackpool.
Blackpool Tower, and you can see the Pleasure Beach off in the background, and that.
Just sticks of rock everywhere in there.
Fucking penis sweets or something, whatever. the high bar tat that they have. But yes, I suppose we should probably talk about the big fucking elephant in the room, the newborn, before we sign off.
Yeah, I don't mind it. No.
That's grim.
It's not that I don't mind it. It's not I think it's great or anything. I just found it weird that it made us feel sorry for it.
Yeah, like, was that the emotion that they were wanting to elicit from the big monster at the end of the movie?
Well,
People feel sad, I guess.
It's an interesting twist, I guess.
Yeah.
You've got oh fuck, there's another. The Queen's back after 2 movies, and then this thing comes out and just demolishes the Queen's face, and then it's just screaming like basically, "Oh no!" as it's getting sucked out of a tiny hole in the window. It's just very fucking over the top. And like, what?
I remember watching like through my fingers at the cinema, just going, "Oh my god!"
Were you embarrassed?
Embarrassed, but also like kind of like grossed out by it as well.
Yeah,
I guess it was like a weird mix of emotions.
Yes, I mean, it's just an odd ending that kind of weirdly works, but I'm not sure if that's the way it was supposed to work. But it gets a reaction out of me, so I kind of like it.
I love the story about how when they made that giant puppet thing that they made, they actually did like it has a penis and a vagina.
Oh
basically.
yeah, and then got rid of it in post production. I saw that.
Yeah, like the studio saw it and were like, "Yeah, nah, you can't do that."
Yeah, because that was Jean-Pierre Jeunette's idea, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
that's what and then I bet the execs were like, "Fuck, we thought we got off lucky here, but HR Giga's not about, but he wants fucking dicks and fannies in it as well."
And apparently, though, that they literally had to spend money. They had to digitally remove some of the shots. Oh God, bless them. And it's just interesting that it's. I don't know. It's kind of interesting that it's got eyes and stuff, and it can like emote with Ripley and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there was an idea there. Mm-hmm. I just don't like the ending.
It just kind of rushed in it, really. Like it is born and dies within like 5 minutes.
Yeah. It doesn't really do anything. Like because of the limitations of the time, they couldn't really do anything with the CGI or the prop. It was like stuck in 2 worlds. If you think about it, you only ever really see it like chest up.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I wonder if that's
fucking does now.
I wonder if that's to do as well with just cutting around the shit they didn't want to show to see it as well. Like instead of just CGI and everything out.
Yeah, having it like walking about and stuff.
Maybe it would have been more effective if like that Queen scene came like 10 minutes earlier or something.
Yeah, and it was like present in the movie a little bit more.
Yeah, like that's the big final boss for like the last 15 minutes.
It does feel like there's something like weirdly edited going on, because if you think about it, like she's like down a pit, like in the whatever, the hive. She escapes from the newborn. She climbs up something. You see like the start of a climb or ascent. Then she has to run down a really long corridor, jump 20 foot to get to the ship, which is like literally taken off. And then the newborn's just like there.
Yeah.
Like, how did it get there? Like, surely it's not that fast. Like, weird. So it feels like there's a scene missing, maybe.
Probably.
And also, not to be like a scientific nerd, but you wouldn't be pulled out of a hole like that, just for clarification.
Well, even if like that was the case, like it's not like the hole would just remain a hole.
No.
As soon as something started getting, the whole window would break.
Probably, yeah. You'd smash through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, space has it's like 1.5 atmospheric pressures higher than Earth or something. You just wouldn't be sucked. You would be sucked into the window, and then you'd be like, fuck, it's hurting. But that would be it. You wouldn't be sucked out of it.
A bit like putting a vacuum to your face.
Yeah.
Like doing the Hoover and being daft and stuff.
That's it, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like a misconception that you'd be like sucked out of a teeny hole or anything. That happens deep underwater, where there's like atmospheric pressure's like super high.
So was 14-year-old Chris watching this going?
Yeah, I was. I was like, actually.
Peeked out from your fingers, covering your hand, you went, oh, come on. Come on, that's not even realistic.
It just ruined the movie for me. I was like, up until this point, I was enjoying it.
Yeah, and then you were like, Blackpool, and the credits hit. Well, that was shit. So what about art and figures and stuff?
So I couldn't actually find any art.
Well,
that was worth talking about. So, which you're probably not surprised at.
No.
There was literally nothing. So yeah, figure-wise, there has been a few smattering of action figures and stuff over the years. NECA have done a Ripley and an alien from Aliens. From Alien Resurrection, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
In the picture. It's in the folder.
I just clicked on the wrong one for a second. I was like, what's this? it was Alien 3. I'm like, that's not fucking Alien Resurrection.
Changed it up. Yeah, she's got the light brown outfit on and stuff.
Oh, and the basketball. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
So everyone knows, but you did that in like one shot, and like
She did.
Ron Perlman almost fucked the take up.
Yeah. Although it is commonly reported she did it like on the first go, like she did try hundreds of times. She kept trying and trying, and I think it was like the director said, like, "Oh, this is it. It's ridiculous. This is your last go."
Yeah.
and then she nailed it. Yeah. It's cool though that Ron Perlman was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I do like the unedited take that's on the making.
Yeah,
It's quite
yeah.
funny. He just has this massive grin on his face. Yeah.
Bless them. They were all just stood there while she was just trying it over and over again.
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, it is a cool moment. In the
It
movie.
is, yeah.
So yeah, she comes with a basketball randomly.
That's nice. Yeah.
They've done a big newborn as well, which is I'm surprised. To be fair, it's just quite bold that they did that. Like, who's buying that?
Standing in a very bleh position.
It's pride place in someone's collection, up on the shelf, looking down on them. So yeah, I think Higher Toys have done a few bits and bobs, but obviously it's not a film that garners like a massive amount of stuff.
No.
There was a line of Kenner toys at the time.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah, just again one of them films where it's like, who are they making these toys for? It's clearly not a kids' film, but
Yeah, but I don't know what. Well, yeah, it was in '97.
97, yeah, and the toys came out like in conjunction with the movie.
Yes, we're kind of getting to just because of the boxes they're in and stuff. They kind of resemble figures now for like
Yeah.
collectors, so they were kind
Yeah.
of getting towards that McFarlane
like
era.
aiming at adult collectors a
Yeah.
bit more and stuff. Yeah, kind of interesting. They're not too bad, the figures for the time, 97.
Just like the poses of the humans, just like, come on then, let's have you go.
So, legs akimbo.
Yeah,
and
arms
obviously
out, yeah.
they had like 5 points of articulation, so like you couldn't do anything with the legs. They were literally just stuck in that pose.
Like old wrestling figures.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Which makes us laugh. And obviously there was I never played it at the time, but I have played it through emulation since. There was an Alien Resurrection game on
Was it
the
on
PlayStation.
I was going to say there was one on the PlayStation, wasn't there?
Yeah, it went through like development hell basically. It was originally going to be a kind of a top-down shooting game, and it went through, and then it was going to be a Tomb Raider game because Tomb Raider came out and everything had to be like Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
But then they finally like pivoted from that and just made a first-person shooting game.
I was going to say it was a first-person shooter, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't bad. I quite enjoyed playing through it. It got absolutely hammered in reviews at the time because it was one of the first games to introduce like dual shock control, where like rather than using the D-pad and stuff, you use both sticks.
Oh, yeah.
So like the left stick moved and the right stick aimed, and ironically at the time everyone said like it was a terrible way to do
and that's
a
just,
shooting game.
That's just standard now.
It's a
isn't it?
standard now,
Yeah.
yeah. So it didn't bother me. I think it got a lot of shit because it was super, super hard. It was one of them games where there wasn't a great deal to it, so they just ramped up the hardness
Yeah.
to make it last.
That's a bit of a shame.
But I thought it was for a PlayStation game.
Yeah.
The weird thing about the game, though, it came out in 2000.
Jesus.
So
While, wasn't it?
they completely missed because of the whole development hell thing.
Yeah.
They just completely missed the like window, and literally no one bought
I
it
mean-
because who would?
I mean, let's have a look. How much did it actually do? Did it do well?
The film itself.
Yeah.
I don't think it did, relatively, because it cost quite a bit. One thing that's worth mentioning is Sigourney Weaver, her pay for this appearance was the same amount of money as the entire budget for Alien.
Yeah.
She got, I think it was like 11 to 13 million, somewhere between. And that was like the entire budget of Alien.
So yeah, this cost 70 million and made 161 million. I'm assuming worldwide.
Yeah, so it's like, at least they didn't lose money.
No.
I guess it probably would have been seen as a bit of a failure, I guess.
Yeah. Because I mean, just like, it still made money, but like you would think by like, I don't know, a year after the developing a game and like it wasn't received well critically. So you'd think they would have just cancelled the fucking thing.
Yeah, no, just apparently they were just like really determined to get
well,
it out.
good for them. Yeah.
One thing just before I forget as well, because obviously I'm guessing it's the same deal. There isn't really Blu-rays and stuff that are worth talking about out there, just a box set.
Yeah.
But it is worth mentioning that the Blu-ray version looks substantially different to what the movie originally looked like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 'cause straight away I was like, because I don't think I've ever watched it on Blu-ray. I've always owned the box set, but just never bothered like watching it again.
Why would you?
Exactly. But straight away I was like, what's going on? Like, it looks weird. Like, whenever Sigourney Weaver's on screen, she looks weird. Like, it looks like there's a soft fuzz on her and stuff.
Yeah.
and just things look darker or lighter than I remembered.
Yeah, I did know. I mean, the only time I watched it is on Blu-ray. But like, I did just notice it looked dark.
So yeah, apparently the movie. I'm just reminding myself. I think it's EVR. It might be EVR. But basically, there's a process where you dip the film reel in like kind of like a chlorine, and like inject it with like a layer of silver or something. And it's called something like EVR process or something.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that before.
And they did this. I'm sure people who are into like film and stuff will probably be like, "You're fucking wrong," but it's along these lines. Yeah. And they did this with Alien Resurrection. To basically, what it does is it gives everything kind of a metallic sort of look to it, but it also like makes blacks look super black.
Yeah.
And it's like a very stylistic choice that works well for certain films. So they did it for that film, and apparently they removed that process when they did the transfer for Blu-ray. They just didn't bother doing it. So it's like that's why the movie looks kind of weird color-wise, and it does because I immediately spotted it without even like thinking about it. Yeah. I only found this out by just literally googling like, why does Alien Resurrection look shit on Blu-ray?
Yeah, that's weird.
So yeah, kind of interesting. Yet again, just people fucking with films when they're releasing them on Blu-ray.
I know.
Like rather than just releasing them how they were originally intended and made.
I know.
Like 9.
It's annoying as fuck.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah, so that's that. That's the Alien movies done and dusted.
No more. It's kind of a shame that they never made any more.
I know. It's mad that they waited this long to make Romulus.
If only that was the case.
I know.
Like I said, we'll maybe talk about it, like depending on how we get around Romulus and stuff.
Yeah, I say we're just the first half of that show, just a quick 15-minute chat about what we can remember about AVP and Prometheus and Covenant. I'm not fucking rewatching them again. I can't be bothered.
I'll have to try and not just like moan for 30 minutes. I feel like I've just moaned a lot during this review, but
that's all right.
I'm a bit of an Alien person. I was a massive nerd for the whole Alien like ecosystem and stuff. So like these two films are just an affront to all that stuff.
I can confirm that when we were kids, Chris with a K was the alien kid. He loved aliens. He had a big alien poster on his door.
Yeah, I lived and breathed it.
Rewatched the special edition till it fucking broke.
So yeah, so you can imagine these two films were a slap in the face.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will. I'll find a way to not just moan about how bad, because it only gets worse from here. Really.
It does. Yeah, sadly.
But I'm positive about Romulus. I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping Romulus is going to be like a refreshing change.
All I want is just like a scary alien movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Without any daft plot bollocks that fucking contradicts other movies. Or that's the only thing I'm worried about. Like the reason it's set between Alien and Aliens. Like why? Like is there going to be something in there where like fucking Bishop's uncle turns up or something?
There has to be something.
There'll be something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it's like, and I don't think I'm going to get me hope here because of the director and stuff. And I just hope they don't just lean too heavily on the gore, because that's not, like, you don't need it to be gory to be scary. You can do a scary movie without it being gory. But
yeah, it might.
I've got a feeling it's just going to be a mad gore fest. Like, which is a shame.
I don't know. You can't hold Evil Dead against them. That was, a movie that's known for being gory, and he just doubled down because it's a modern movie. Because I don't like that Evil Dead movie either. But I was really impressed by Don't Breathe that he did afterwards. So
yeah, which I don't think I've seen.
It's well worth the watch. It's very tense.
Yeah, and I think that's what you need. You just need tension. Just do tension in Romulus.
Yeah. Because I always think it works. We never really went into like the gore in the Alien movies, but it works so much better that the alien kills are like so quick and vicious, because that's what they are. They're like efficient killers.
Machines.
Yeah.
Champion Cinema.
So yeah, like I said, no show next week probably. We might try and squeeze something in, because I'm going up to see Chris with a K.
Yes.
Then we're going to go see Romulus and do a show at his house. And
eat loads of meat.
Eat lots of meat and probably play loads of shitty tie-in video games again.
Yeah, I've been building a playlist.
Yeah,
so.
We'll definitely be doing a few of the Alien ones.
Yeah.
I want to play that fucking Pac-Man one.
yeah. I think was it a comedy? No, it was Atari 2600
it was just Pac-Man, but aliens.
Yeah, I lined up some good ones, like the Game Boy version of Alien and stuff. And the real shit ones.
Excellent. So yeah, until next week, you can find us on Instagram at Champion Cinema Pod. If you want a t-shirt or a sticker, search for us on TeePublic. Rate and review the show on iTunes and Spotify. Don't forget to rate us on Spotify as well. That'll help get the show to more people.
Yeah.
So yeah, until we next see you in probably a couple of weeks, I'll see you down the pit.
See you on the heap.
Bye.